Have you ever considered how the unpredictability of weather mirrors the unpredictability of life? One moment, the sky is painted in hues of blue, the sun shining down warmly, and in the blink of an eye, dark clouds roll in, the sky grumbles, and a storm is upon us. Life, much like the weather, is a series of alternating moments, bright and dark, calm and chaotic. There are days when we are bathed in the sunlight of happiness, optimism coursing through our veins, and then, there are days when we find ourselves in the eye of a storm, a whirlwind of emotions that leave us feeling down, depressed, and utterly exhausted. This is the unpredictable weather of life, a constant ebb and flow, a dance between the sun and the storm. And at the heart of this storm lies our main topic for today, overthinking, the mental maelstrom that can turn even the calmest seas into raging tempests. Just like the weather, our mental state can change rapidly, and sometimes we find ourselves trapped in a storm of overthinking. But what exactly is overthinking? And why does it feel so exhausting? Overthinking, simply put, is the act of dwelling on problems, decisions, or fears, often to the point of mental and emotional fatigue. It's like a storm in your mind, where thoughts whirl and crash against each other, creating a chaos that's hard to control. Now imagine this storm as a kind of mental diarrhea. A bit graphic, but stay with me. Just as physical diarrhea is an uncontrollable draining release of what's inside us, overthinking is an uncontrollable draining release of thoughts. It's an onslaught of worry, doubt, and what-ifs that leaves us mentally and emotionally spent. Each overthought is like a harmful bacteria, disrupting the harmony of our mental ecosystem and draining us of our vitality. And just like we wouldn't keep eating foods that trigger physical diarrhea, we shouldn't entertain thoughts that trigger mental diarrhea. So, what can we do to stop overthinking and regain peace and mindfulness in our lives? Well, there are several strategies that can help us calm the mental storm. Firstly, let's talk about mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being present in the moment and not worrying about the past or the future. It's about acknowledging and accepting our thoughts and feelings without judgment. A simple mindfulness practice could be focusing on your breath or the sensations in your body. This can help us to break away from the cycle of overthinking and bring our attention back to the present moment. Secondly, cognitive behavioral techniques can be very effective. These techniques help us to identify and challenge our negative thought patterns. For instance, if you find yourself thinking, "I always mess things up," you might challenge this thought by asking yourself, "Is this really true? Can I think of times when I have succeeded or done well?" By challenging these negative thoughts, we can start to replace them with more positive and realistic ones. Lifestyle changes can also make a big impact. Regular physical activity has been shown to reduce anxiety and improve mood. Eating a healthy diet, getting enough sleep, and reducing caffeine and alcohol can also help to reduce overthinking. Identifying triggers is another important strategy. What situations, people, or thoughts tend to set off your overthinking? Once you identify these triggers, you can start to develop strategies to manage them. For example, if you notice that you tend to overthink when you're alone, you might make a plan to call a friend, or go for a walk when you start to feel this way. And finally, be kind to yourself. It's important to remember that everyone overthinks from time to time. It's a normal part of being human. But if you find that overthinking is causing you distress, it might be helpful to seek support from a mental health professional. Remember, it takes time and practice to change deeply ingrained habits. Be patient with yourself. Overcoming overthinking is not a sprint, but a marathon. But with persistence and patience, you can learn to calm the mental storm and live a more peaceful and mindful life. Just as we can't control the weather, we can't always control what happens in our lives, but we can control how we respond. Life, much like the weather, is often unpredictable. One day, the sun is shining, and the next, we're caught in a torrential downpour. It's in these stormy moments that we may find ourselves caught in a whirlwind of overthinking, a mental storm that leaves us feeling drained and exhausted. But remember, these storms do not define you. They are but temporary clouds passing overhead. In these moments, it's important to remind ourselves to utilize the strategies we've discussed. Take a breath, step back, and observe your thoughts without judgment. Allow yourself the grace to have bad days, to feel the rain on your face, and then let it go. Remember, even the stormiest weather eventually clears. And when it does, you'll be stronger for having weathered it. Keep pressing forward with mindfulness and peace in your heart. Storms come and go, but resilience remains.